Have you ever thought of having a mechanism that can deploy the code developed by developers automatically and make it accessible by the end users without any human intervention? Yes, that is possible by using DevOps. Now, whenever any action is performed by the developer on their GitHub repo, a Jenkins job can be set up that will be triggered automatically and deploy your whole website to the target machines. So let's do a job having a configuration which will auto trigger Jenkins job using webhook to deploy a website. That means this is possible using a Git webhook feature that is provided by GitHub. Watch this video until end to get a special surprise. So suppose we have a scenario where developer is developing the code and placing onto the Git repo that is managed by the GitHub. Now Jenkins is having a job which is doing all the other job apart from the developer's end, like building the code, testing the code, packing the images, building the images, and then deploying them onto the container. So this is all going to be done by the Jenkins job. But Jenkins job can be triggered manually, or if you don't want any manual intervention, then you can set up a webhook that we have here that will automatically trigger the Jenkins job whenever any defined action is performed on the GitHub repo. So that's what we are going to see in action here. Let me go to my GitHub repo where I will be setting my Git webhook. You need to have a Git repo where your developer is pushing and maintaining all the code. So I have a GitHub repo that's named here DevOps IQ, and master branch I am going to configure for this Git webhook. Go to the settings. Here you will see a section defining your webhook. Let's go to the webhook, and you can add any number of webhooks here with the actions. Before that, in order to authenticate the action you are performing, the GitHub may ask your password to confirm before you add a webhook, because this will directly interfere with your code and the Jenkins job that you have configured. Also, your webhook can only access the Jenkins job if you have a authentication token added. How we can do it? Let's go to the user that I have created here. Any user you can use from where you want to run the Jenkins job. So what I am going to do, I will go to configure and I can get a token added here. You can see I can generate a new token using generate. Get the token. This is one time token only I can get. Once I close this, I will be the token will be lost. So I got the token. I will add here to authenticate automatically by the Jenkins job. Okay, so the token is here. I want to define my Jenkins URL also. That is most important. Go here in payload URL, mention HTTP or the copy URL that you have, and here you need to mention GitHub webhook. Okay, and this is how this slash is also important when you are mentioning the GitHub URL. Now the next thing is you need to define your actions. For which action you want to trigger the Jenkins job by webhook. You can just do it for the push event, which is very common, or if you want to trigger the job for any action you are performing on your Git, then you can do by selecting send me everything. Now add webhook. For this session we will be using just a push event by the developer. So I will just add the webhook and it will automatically do the handshake with the Jenkins job. You can see here it is gray. Let's refresh and check the status. This is very important. It shows connected status or last delivery was successful. If it's not showing, if it's showing a red sign, that means your webhook is not correctly configured. Okay, so now webhook is set up. I will create a Jenkins job here. That will be a Git job. Let's go here in the dashboard. So I already have a job. I will configure it for webhook now. This job is actually a GitHub project job, and that will be having this Git repo URL already defined in the training in the configuration of the project. So let's go to the job again and I can verify the URL is correctly defined. Go here and check the URL is Vista Sunil DevOps IQ, right? So that's the same. Then I'm running it on my one of the slave, that's name is slave only. It is the source code management I am using it for is GitHub repo. So I have mentioned Git and the URL you need to provide, and the credential, if it is secured, I have made it public. This is a public repo, so I do not need to provide any credential here, and the branch of the repo. So apart from this, I need to mention if this job need to be webhook triggered. So that you can define here in build triggers. Go here and check this GitHub hook trigger for Git SCM polling. So that will enable this job to get triggered by the Git webhook. Okay, so this is the only change I need to make here. Rest things will remain as it is. Okay, so for adding webhook, you need to specify and check this option. Save the job and let's download the code of this repo by cloning this onto your server. You can do git clone and the URL of the repo. It will download the code. Okay, let's make another fresh directory. Go inside it and try to download the URL, because in this place I already have this code available. So, git clone the repo. You got it here, all the code downloaded here. Let's go inside the folder. The repo will be downloaded with the folder name. You can go inside and check for the files available. What I can do, I can make changes to the HTML site website pages now. Let's go inside DevOps and check for the pages that I have. I will make some changes in the index.html file that will be populated on the web page. I will make it Jenkins webhook website and will add the title or heading here as webhook triggered web page. Okay, so I have made my changes. Like a developer, I can now add these changes using git add. I can commit these changes using git commit with the mention commit. Webhook code, I can mention any comment here and push this code to my master branch. Okay, so all the changes you can see pushed here, and if I go inside the job, what I can see, a job should have been triggered. You see, the job has been triggered here, and this should start running when it is scheduled on the slave machine. The job is started running automatically. If you go inside the job and check for the console output, you can see the console output and the status is success. So job is success. It was automatically triggered by the webhook. I did not went there onto the Jenkins console and trigger the job. Whenever I push the code, the moment I push the code, the job got triggered automatically, and my website should be deployed onto the slave machine and in container automatically, and should be accessible on the server IP and port. Okay, so let's check. So you can see the updated website is available now. The title I added as Jenkins website and the heading was DevOps triggered web page. The same I can view on my website.